How's it going, Yankee fans? My name is Alex with my co-host here, Ryan Garcia, and today we want to discuss Nestor Cortes, who honestly could be another ace for this Yankee team. He has been unbelievable. He had a little bit of a rough stretch around the All-Star break, but he's really figured it out. He's turned things around. He's managed to increase his efficiency. He's doing really well in August. He had a tremendous July, and now we're looking at Garrett Cole like maybe he's not the ace on this team. Maybe Nestor Cortes is the ace on this team, or maybe they just have two aces, which, all the merrier. I'll take as many as we can get at this point. But Ryan, I'm excited to talk about Nestor Cortes, what he's done to kind of shift his game, change it up, and just improve his efficiency. He's definitely taken a little bit of a different approach the last couple of weeks here and his pitch sequence and usage. So I know you have a lot to discuss regarding that and what he's done to change his style. Before we do so, how you do today, my friend?
I'm doing great. I think Nestor kind of gave the Yankees everything they needed yesterday. I thought that was probably not. I don't think that was his best outing of the season because there's probably other outings where he had I think of the one against Tampa where he goes 8 innings. He starts the ninth in that game. But this was a game that the Yankees needed a big outing from their starting pitcher, and Nestor gave them exactly what they needed. And that's one of those things where you can't, there's not a number you can quantify for that, but that's definitely a ballsy performance. That's definitely the type of performance you look for in an ace. The Yankees need that game. This is, a team that's struggling a lot, and he goes out there and he puts it all on the line and basically wills the Yankees to a win. And Nestor's a guy, so, since the start of last year, he leads all starting pitchers in WHIP and ERA in the American League, which is kind of crazy to think about. I mean, this is a guy who, was not considered wasn't even considered a necessary lock for the rotation. The Yankees were maybe looking to a starter, and had they added a starter, he would have been the odd man out. It would have been coming into the season Cole, Severino, whatever starter that was, Tyone, and Montgomery. And if you look on it, and if you look now, I mean, Nestor's been the best pitcher in this rotation in terms of production this season. And it's kind of incredible to think about. He's probably the guy he's the guy who throws the softest in this rotation. He's the sole left-hander in this rotation now. He's the guy who you kind of had the most question marks about because it was his first full year starting, and he's passed the test with flying colors. I mean, the Blue Jays are a very good right-handed lineup, and he diced them up. I mean, he goes out in that sixth inning, he strikes out the side with Vladimir Guerrero Jr., Gurriel coming up. I mean, that's Kirk. I mean, that's just an unbelievable job. He's become more aggressive with his fastball. We saw him kind of dialing it up a little bit in that last inning. He can get up to 95 if need be, kind of have that in the back pocket and blow it by a hitter. But it's his velocity, the variety in his velocity, the distribution of being able to, kind of work back that cutter a little bit. I know he was using it a little less lately, but now he's trying to use it a little more again. Whether it's a feel thing, he's kind of trying to mix things up. The slider has been a very nice pitch for him lately. He's just, as a pitcher, started to evolve and adjust and learn learn how to balance between, okay, the league has made this adjustment, let me do this. If I had some velocity in my back pocket, I can bring out whenever I need to blow it by a hitter in a 2-strike count with 2 outs. And seeing him blossom into this guy, he can give you 6-7 innings a start. I mean, I saw someone say when I tweeted about how he's kind of become this ace, saying, well, he's a 6-inning guy. Well, I mean, in his last few outings, you look back since that outing against the Reds, 7 innings, 6 innings, 5 innings, 5 innings, 6 innings, 7 innings, 6 innings. That's good volume there. That's good volume. That's the type of volume you're looking for in a quality starting pitcher, giving you a 2.55 ERA in that stretch. That's great production. The home runs are down. The barrels are down. The strikeouts are right around where they should be. The walks are where they should be. He's continued to just be this incredible pitcher, and it's a great story for the New York Yankees.
It definitely is. I mean, he was not expected to be this good. And looking at his, I guess, pitch sequencers, some of the changes he's made to elevate his game over the past couple of weeks, you discussed it a couple episodes ago. He's really started to rely more on his four-seam fastball than rely on his cutter. So it's pretty interesting to see the massive fluctuation. So right after May, so starting in June, his cutter fell off. He was throwing at a 40%, fell off to 32%. Fast forward to now, he's only throwing at 23%. His fastball has increased from May at 38% now to 50%. So you're seeing a lot more fastball usage, a lot less cutter usage, but he still incorporates it this month at 23%, which is not a small amount. So he's a four-seam fastball, cutter, and slider pitcher at the moment. Doesn't really utilize that changeup, sinker very much at all. But the one thing I love about that fastball cutter combination is that he uses very similar arm slots for it, and the pitches just move so differently. If you can use them in a good combination, they're incredibly difficult to pitch. This month alone, against his four-seam fastball, hitters are batting .083. or 0.83, and then cut against the cutter 0.77. So like you're not hitting anything off this guy. You're just not getting any production. The fastball, the four seam has a 26% whiff rate and a 27.5% put away rate. Which is tremendous. But then you look at the actual movement of these pitches. The cutter is producing 19% inches more vertical drop. 19% better than the average pitcher, 12.9 inches of vertical drop with the four seamer. And then with the cutter, you're seeing 94% better than the average pitcher with 4.8 inches of horizontal movement, which, is awesome. So you're seeing just these two pitches, same arm slot, way different movement, way different efficiency. And batters are having a hard time picking up which pitch it is. And like that ultimately, messes with their depth perception. And then suddenly you're dropping in a slider at a different arm angle. And you're like, what the hell is going on? You're really confusing these batters. You're keeping them off balance. They don't know what is coming. And it's really interesting because like I said before, the four seam fastball is getting vertical movement and the cutter is getting horizontal movement. So that cutter where you might think it's a four seam is actually trailing inside. It's trailing into you. And then the four seam fastball is just rising. And you're like, how the hell am I supposed to hit this? It's unbelievable. But, Ryan, when you're looking at this pitch sequence, how he's changed things up, how important do you think that has been to his success? And maybe come the postseason, do you think they'll try to tweak it a little bit more because maybe batters will start to figure him out towards the end of the year?
Well, I think one thing that's kind of become a big adjustment for him is that his slider is truly another pitch he can use pretty frequently and get swings and misses and get outs. If you look at weighted on base average, also known as WOBA, again, skilled like on base percentage of 400 is very good. 300, for batters is not great, but for pitchers, lower is better. The sliders, cutter, and fastball are all under 300 for the WOBA. So batters are not hitting those pitches. While they're hitting 246 on that pitch, they're not slugging it at all. 304.06 slugging is nothing to really look at. He doesn't walk guys on that pitch. It's a big strike pitch. This is a pitch that he's gotten good results on. It has good sweeping movement. We've seen him drop down with it sometimes or still stay over the top with that slider and still get some good movement. So that being a third pitch for him gives him that extra look that now when he's throwing the cutter and when he's throwing the fastball, he has that third pitch to go to. Or if he wants to make the cutter his third pitch, or if, any given day, Nestor Cortes can be a different pitcher. He can be a fastball slider guy, fastball cutter guy, fastball, could just go heavy fastball. Yesterday we saw him just in that last inning go at guys with his fastball. He got some great results. I think the really interesting thing is, again, that max velocity, getting it up to 95 plus. His max velocity yesterday was 95.3 miles per hour. That's incredible considering his lowest velocity today was 88.5 miles per hour. That is a drastic difference in velocity. As a hitter, you don't really know what you're getting. You could get a well below average velocity fastball or a fastball that comes in as hard as harder than most left-handed fastballs are coming in at. Even yesterday, his slider had 5 more inches of vertical break than usual. This is a guy who changes his looks a lot. This is a guy who will change the shape of his pitches pretty frequently, and it leads to really, really good results. So I'm hoping that he continues to have this great level of just deception. I think he has, the best fastball shape of any fastball you'll see thrown at his velocity range, considering he doesn't throw very hard. And I think the number one thing that is working for Nestor Cortes is we have a large sample of his success. We have over 200 innings of the best ERA in the American League, right? Like this isn't we no longer can sit back and say this is a pitcher who's just, lucking his way to this. The results are there. The strikeouts are there. The lack of walks are there. The quality of contact is very piss poor for hitters. They can't barrel him up consistently. This is a guy who's more than just a fluke. This is a guy who's mastered the art of deception, which is kind of incredible to think about because it's a lost art nowadays because so many guys can just blow people away.
Yeah, they really can. And it's interesting that you mentioned like how he could be this team's second ace, right? And come the postseason, here's a question for you. Would you rather have Garrett Cole, Frankie Montas, Nestor Cortes? Or are you thinking Garrett Cole, Nestor Cortes, Frankie Montas if you're going in order of a three-man rotation? Right now, I'm thinking Cortes got to have that number 2 spot if he keeps pitching like this. What are your thoughts?
Well, I think that Montas and Cortes and Severino, even, you look at those 3 guys and you can play matchups now. If I look at a team like Toronto, I might be inclined to go with, I would feel like on the surface, I'd go with Montas, even though I know Montas struggled and Nestor didn't, just because I like the matchup of having, a guy who is a right-handed pitcher against a heavily right-handed lineup. But if I'm going against a team like the Rays, I might go with Nestor because they have great platoons on both sides. And I feel comfortable going with Nestor there. You look at different matchups across the American League. You know, you look at the Astros even, or you maybe go Montas because he has some great success against the Astros. Or if you go against a team like maybe the Guardians or, you know, one of those AL Central teams, you know, you might, or the Mariners even, you might go at Nestor instead of Montas. So you're kind of playing to matchups, and it gives the Yankees a lot of flexibility where if the Yankees throw out Montas in game 2 or Nestor in game 2, that's not a wrong decision, if you get what I'm saying. There's no like wrong choice here. And I guess this is going to be something that a lot of people in the comments hopefully have a strong opinion about and kind of, you know, can express, where it's like, where you don't, there's really not a wrong choice here, right? If the Yankees were to start Severino in game 2, you know, coming into the season, that was the game plan, right? So we're in this weird spot where it's like, and it's a good problem to have, of course, that your game 2, 3, and 4 starters could all arguably start game 2 for the Yankees, and in Nestor's case, could arguably start game 1. Though I do think it'll be Garrett Cole, and I'm very confident in that. So, you know, having 3 game 2 starters following your ace is pretty damn good, and having a second ace and the guy who's been the best at run prevention in the American League since last year is definitely a luxury.
Yeah, that's big facts. So I'm curious to see, you know, what they do with Nestor come the postseason. But for now, he's been tremendous. As I mentioned before, in the month of August, has a 3.33 ERA, has given up 9 earned runs in 24 innings. But in July, 2.60 ERA with 8 earned runs over 27.2 innings. He's been absolutely stellar. Strikeouts look good. Ground balls, forcing a lot of ground balls. You know, he's not giving up too many homers. Last month, he gave up 3 in that 27 inning sample size, and this month he's given up 3 in the 24 inning sample size. So not much of a difference there. He's looked quite solid. So I'm very optimistic that he'll continue to perform well and hopefully can be a pretty solid postseason pitcher for us. But guys, I'd love your perspectives below in the YouTube comments about Nestor Cortes, your confidence in him. Do you feel as though he is a guy we can rely on in the playoffs, where you have him slotted in maybe in front of Frankie Montas, or would you rather just kind of play the matchup game, see what team we're playing, you know, the type of hitters they have? That probably will be how the Yankees operate. But at the same time, if you're playing them for 3 days, maybe you just want to go with the hot hand and see if they can, you know, emerge victorious in that one. So always happy to hear your perspectives, and make sure to leave us a voicemail, as you can see above on the graphics, 631-762-3518. Leave us a voicemail. Happy to feature you on future episodes. Your perspectives and opinions, as always. Make sure to leave a like and subscription below on the YouTube channel, Spotify, and Apple. And we'll catch you guys on the next Fireside Yankees episode.